Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Heartwarming images emerge as Hamas releases all 20 surviving Israeli hostages who reunite with their families to much celebration and joy, brightening prospects for peace in Gaza. Donald Trump gets standing ovation in the Knesset. The US president hails the historic dawn of a new Middle East. Netanyahu announces Israel's highest honor for Trump. Canada's Foreign Minister Anita Anand calls on Prime Minister Modi in New Delhi. The Prime Minister says they discussed ways to strengthen cooperation in trade, technology and much more for mutual growth and prosperity. And Mongolia's Kurulsuk Ukna is on his first official visit to India as president. The visit set to enhance bilateral ties. All 20 living Israeli hostages were handed over to the International Committee of the Red Cross, or the ICRC, by Hamas on Monday. The news was published by Israel's public broadcaster. There were loud cheers in Hostages Square as news of the release emerged. The Foreign Ministry of Israel greeted the released hostages' welcome home. The head of the European diplomacy, Kaja Kallas, welcomed the release by Hamas, highlighting US President Donald Trump's role in this crucial milestone towards peace. Hamas earlier released the names of the 20 living hostages being freed. They have been held in Gaza since the 7th of October attacks in 2023. In exchange for the hostages, Israel will release 1,966 Palestinian prisoners and detainees. So Israeli hostages were received by the Israeli army on Monday after they were released by Hamas under the first phase of a ceasefire agreement with Israel, which was set to release hundreds of Palestinians from its jails in exchange. The freed hostages finally reunited with their families. US President Donald Trump was given a standing ovation by Israeli MPs as he entered the Knesset on Monday. Trump traveled to Israel to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and address its parliament, Knesset, as Hamas handed over all 20 surviving hostages to Israel. Speaking before the parliament, US President Donald Trump thanked mediators from the Arab and Muslim world for helping to reach an agreement that brought about a ceasefire in Gaza and the release of the hostages held by Hamas.
And let me also convey my tremendous appreciation for all of the nations of the Arab and Muslim world that came together to press Hamas to set the hostages free and to send them home. We had a lot of help. We had a lot of help from a lot of people that you wouldn't suspect, and I want to thank them very much for that. It's an incredible triumph for Israel and the world to have all of these nations working together as partners in peace.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in the parliament that Israel achieved amazing victories over Hamas and the entire Iran axis.
Israel achieved amazing victories over Hamas and the entire Iran terror axis. Sinwar, Dev, Hania, Nasrallah, Assad, they're all gone.
Netanyahu described the US president as the greatest friend Israel has ever had in the White House and announced that he had nominated Trump for Israel's highest civilian honor for his pivotal leadership in supporting Israel during the conflict.
Donald Trump is the greatest friend that the state of Israel has ever had in the White House.
On to Europe now. Following the formation of Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu's new government in France, French President Emmanuel Macron announced that he will remain in office on Monday. He emphasized that political forces have a responsibility to promote stability rather than gamble on it.
It is everyone's duty to work towards stability, not to gamble on instability. I am here in my role as guarantor of our institution. The role I exercised last week. Like all French people, I have seen many comments that have not been commensurated with the event, and I ask everyone to pull themselves together and work with rigor and respect.
Lecornu, who was reappointed Prime Minister last week, has pledged to deliver a cabinet of renewal and diversity, but stuck with his previous picks for most of the choice jobs. The most notable change to the ministerial picks was incoming Interior Minister Laurent Nunez, who replaces Bruno Retailleau, leader of the Conservative Republicans Party. The new government must submit a 2026 draft budget by Tuesday to allow the required 70-day parliamentary review. The hard-left France said it will file a motion of no confidence on Monday, as did the far-right National Rally. Meanwhile, the socialists are keeping their options open. Next news from Africa. Opposition leader Patrick Herminier defeated incumbent President Wavel Ramkalawan in Seychelles' runoff election with 52.7% of the vote, returning the United Seychelles Party to full government control. This follows the party's parliamentary majority win last month, which it had lost in 2015. The race, following no majority in September 27th first round, centered on climate vulnerability, rising sea levels, economic pressures and a heroin crisis affecting up to 10% of the 120,000 population. Herminier pledged to slash living costs, bolster public services, combat drug addiction and cancel a controversial 70-year Qatari lease on Assumption Island near Adlabra UNESCO site, citing sovereignty interference. Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated Patrick Herminier in a social media post. Prime Minister Modi wrote, "Heartiest congratulations to Dr. Patrick Herminier on his victory in the presidential elections in Seychelles. The waters of the Indian Ocean are our shared heritage and nourish the aspirations and needs of our people. I am confident that our time-tested and multifaceted relations will deepen and gain further momentum in his tenure as president. My best wishes to him for the tenure ahead." In Madagascar, thousands of protesters gathered in Central Square in Antananarivo on Monday, chanting for President Andry Rajoelina to step down. The demonstration marked the most serious challenge to his leadership since his re-election in 2023. Protesters, many of them students, held banners referencing Gen Z as military vehicles moved slowly through the crowd. Some demonstrators hung off the sides of the vehicles while soldiers remained visible but did not intervene. Madagascar's presidency said Rajoelina will address the nation later on Monday after losing the support of a key army unit that joined the youth-led protests. Demonstrations began on September 25th over water and power shortages, but have since escalated into broader demands for the president's resignation, driven by frustration over corruption, poverty and lack of basic services. Wealth inequality is often named as one of the biggest economic problems plaguing the world, and that's why it's being closely monitored. Oxfam has now new numbers, but specifically is looking at Europe and the continent's super rich. Lars Walter is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin now on the story. Lars, what do the latest numbers tell us?
Thanks for having me. Well, the rich are getting richer. That would be the quick answer. But they're also getting richer at a faster pace. But let me give you some numbers here. Currently, there's 487 billionaires in Europe. That is 39 more than last year. And that means that just about every 9 days, a new name joins the list. Now, to put that in perspective, worldwide, we have almost 2,800 billionaires these days. But to stick to Europe, our 3,600 richest citizens own as much as the 181 million poorest citizens. Also, Germany, to give you the perspective from Berlin, Germany has the 4th highest number of billionaires in the world after the US, China and India. So that would be 130 people with a combined wealth of 625 billion euros.
Okay, Lars, so what can be done to counter that trend? Any recommendations from Oxfam?
Yes, clearly there are ideas out there. The most simple one has often been discussed: higher taxes for the super rich. Now, once again, looking specifically at Germany, that topic has just popped up actually last week. The left party in parliament has once again suggested to raise taxes on the wealthy. However, both an inheritance tax and a wealth tax seem to be non-starters for the Conservative Party currently leading the governing coalition. Too bad, Germany used to have a wealth tax, and if it was reinstated, it would bring in over 100 billion euros just like that, and only a few people would be paying it, and it would be the ones who could most easily afford it. Anyway, that tax currently doesn't exist, and another tricky aspect is that for many, large parts of their wealth is not actually in liquid assets, but tied to companies. So that can be a problem for legislators. An example here, there are startups worth billions, even though they might be losing money. Now, you can't easily tax them or their owners at a fair level because that would make starting companies here cost prohibitive. So there's not really a simple solution. But Oxfam says, and according to many surveys, most people agree, the rich have to be generally taxed more, and it should most likely be happening not on a national level either, but this should be dealt with by the EU, not least as to prevent billionaires from just moving their assets across the nearest border.
Okay, Lars, thank you very much for those updates. Lars Holter reporting from DW Berlin. Moving on now, the 78th session of the World Health Organization Regional Committee for Southeast Asia commenced on Monday in Colombo. Speaking at the event, WHO Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus stressed the importance of healthy aging and reducing tobacco consumption.
Your agenda covers many issues of shared importance: universal health coverage, health emergencies, antimicrobial resistance, smokeless tobacco, and more. I also look forward to joining tomorrow's Ministerial Roundtable on healthy aging and primary health care.
You're watching DD India Live, still to come on the show. American-Israeli Joel Moker, Francis Philippe Aghion and Canada's Peter Howitt get the Economics Nobel for their work on technology's impact on sustained economic growth. And India sends sacred relics of Lord Buddha for exposition in Russia's Kalmykia Republic.
There's so many invaluable artifacts that the British have taken from our country. They robbed us of our self-respect. They robbed us of our honor. Loot was never innocent. It was painful.
The word loot, that was stolen from India too.
Thank you for staying with us. You're watching DD India Live. I am Tanvi Taneja. The Nobel Memorial Prize in Economic Sciences for 2025 has been announced. The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences declared the award on October 13th, marking the final prize of this year's Nobel season. Joël Moquet, Philippe Aghion and Peter Howitt have won the 2025 Nobel Economic Prize for having explained innovation-driven economic growth. The prestigious award, formerly known as the Sverige Riksbank Prize in Economic Sciences in memory of Alfred Nobel, carries a prize of 11 million Swedish crowns for the winners. In its declaration, the prize-awarding body praised the laureates for underscoring that sustained economic growth is not guaranteed. Let's hear from what the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences had to say.
The Swedish Academy of Sciences has today decided to award Sveriges Riksbank Prize in Economic Sciences in memory of Alfred Nobel for 2025 to Joël Moquet, Northwestern University, USA, Philippe Aghion, Collège de France and INSEAD, France, and London School of Economics, UK, and Peter Howitt, Brown University, USA, for having explained innovation-driven economic growth.
The Nobel Prize in Economics honors groundbreaking contributions that shape how we understand markets, behavior and policy. Established in 1968 by Sweden's central bank for its 300th anniversary, the award recognizes pioneers in fields ranging from game theory and behavioral economics to poverty alleviation and financial stability. Though not part of Alfred Nobel's original will, it stands alongside the other Nobel Prizes as one of the most prestigious honors in the world of ideas. More in our next report.
The Nobel Prize in Economics, officially the Sveriges Riksbank Prize in Economic Sciences, was created in 1968 by Sweden's central bank. Though not part of Alfred Nobel's original will, it's awarded with the other Nobel Prizes and widely recognized as one. The prize honors major advances in economics, spanning theory like game theory, empirical research such as poverty and labor, and impactful policy innovations. The former US Federal Reserve Chair, Ben Bernanke, won the award in 2022 for policy.
From 2006 to 2014, I was involved in a global financial crisis where the problems in the financial sector caused tremendous problems in the real economy, both here and around the world. And this, and thinking about these issues made me very determined to do everything I could, along with my other policymakers, my colleagues, to try to prevent the financial system from melting down.
Though called the Nobel Prize for Economics, many winners weren't economists. Daniel Kahneman, 2002, was a psychologist. Elinor Ostrom, 2009, a political scientist, and John Nash, 1994, a mathematician known for game theory. Joseph Stiglitz, an economist, won the prize in 2001 for extending our understanding of economic measures in society.
Well, GDP was originally created as a measure of market economic activity, but has increasingly become used as a measure of societal well-being. Wasn't designed for that, and it doesn't measure that. And changes in the structure of our economy and our society have made it increasingly poor as an indicator of societal well-being.
Amartya Sen, the only Indian citizen to win the Economics Nobel in 1998, was honored for work on poverty and social choice. Indian-born American Abhijit Banerjee won in 2019 for his experimental approach to fighting global poverty. They joined some of the most influential economists in history to receive the Nobel Prize in Economics. Milton Friedman in 1976, Sir John Hicks 1972, Paul Samuelson 1970, and Robert Solow 1987. Bureau Report, DD India.
The visiting Canadian Foreign Minister Anita Anand called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi on Monday. Prime Minister welcomed Foreign Minister Anand and conveyed that her visit would contribute to the ongoing efforts to impart new momentum to India-Canada bilateral partnership. Prime Minister Modi recalled his visit to Canada in June this year for the G7 summit, during which he held an extremely productive meeting with Prime Minister Mark Carney. Prime Minister Modi noted the significance of enhanced cooperation between the two countries in trade, energy, technology, agriculture, people-to-people ties. Prime Minister Modi conveyed his warm wishes to Prime Minister Mark Carney and said that he looked forward to their upcoming engagements. Earlier, Canadian Foreign Minister Anita Anand met India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. Both the leaders had constructive discussions to restore and reinvigorate the mechanisms necessary to advance India-Canada partnership. They also exchanged views on global developments on shared challenges. The leaders also agreed on an ambitious cooperation roadmap to shepherd the process of rebuilding cooperation between the two countries.
For our meeting today, have prepared an ambitious roadmap to advance our cooperation in various domains, including trade, investment, agriculture, science and technology, civil nuclear collaboration, AI, critical minerals, and energy. I'm glad that the two High Commissioners have assumed their responsibilities in our respective capitals and are part of today's meeting. Canada bilateral relations have been steadily progressing in the last few months. We are working to restore and reinvigorate the mechanisms necessary to advance our partnership. As Prime Minister Modi noted during his meeting with Prime Minister Carney in Kananaskis, India's approach is to move forward with a positive mindset. This morning, you have met the Prime Minister. You have heard from him personally about our vision of cooperation and how best to realize it.
Mongolian President Khural-Sukh-Ukna is in India for a 4-day state visit from today until October 16th at the invitation of President Draupadi Murmu. This marks his first visit to India as head of the state. He was warmly received at Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport by Minister of State for Civil Aviation Muralidhar Mohol with a ceremonial welcome. The occasion featured vibrant cultural performances followed by a formal guard of honor in his recognition. During the visit, President Murmu will meet her Mongolian counterpart and host a banquet in his honor. President Khural-Sukh-Ukna will hold talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and review the entire gamut of bilateral relations. Diplomatic relations between India and Mongolia were established in 1955. Over the past 7 decades, the two countries have developed a close and multifaceted partnership anchored in shared cultural and spiritual links and democratic values. This is President's first visit to India in his capacity as head of state of Mongolia. The Reserve Bank of India has amended the Foreign Exchange Management Borrowing and Lending Regulations 2018, allowing Indian banks to extend loans in Indian rupees to entities and individuals in Sri Lanka, Bhutan and Nepal. This move marks a significant step in promoting regional financial integration and facilitating smoother trade settlements in the Indian currency. This is the first time India has formally permitted direct rupee lending to foreign economies under its foreign exchange management framework. India's External Affairs Ministry Secretary West, Ambassador C.B. George, led the Indian delegation at the senior officials meeting of the 19th Non-Aligned Movement Midterm Ministerial in Kampala, Uganda. The meeting was presided over by Uganda's Foreign Minister General Odongo JJ. Posting on microblogging site X, External Affairs Ministry reiterated its support to Uganda's leadership of the NAM. In an event of profound spiritual and cultural significance, the holy relics of Lord Buddha were formally enshrined in Kalmykia in Russia, marking the first ever exposition of these sacred artifacts in the Russian Republic. The day was graced with the opening of 3 unique exhibitions by Uttar Pradesh Deputy Chief Minister Keshav Prasad Maurya and Head of the Republic of Kalmykia in Elista, Batu Kashikov. The exposition symbolizes the deep-rooted spiritual connection between India and Russia. Head of the Republic of Kalmykia, along with his ministers, met the Indian delegation. In the meeting, both sides agreed to strengthen bilateral relations, people-to-people ties and open new areas of cooperation. Keshav Prasad Maurya also visited the Buddhist park in Elista and assured the governor of Kalmykia that India will provide a Buddha statue and contribute providing its construction material. The initiative aims to promote deeper awareness of Indian culture among Russians. Later in the day, Deputy Chief Minister inspected Kalmykia University Museum and praised the struggles undertaken in the journey of development by the people of Kalmykia. The university's director and the Minister of Culture of Kalmykia welcomed the Indian delegation.
यह म्यूजियम अत्यधिक महत्वपूर्ण है। इसमें इन्होंने जो संग्रह किया है उसकी जितनी प्रशंसा की जाए वो कम होगी। कई प्रकार के उतार चढ़ाव का सामना करने के बाद इस विश्वविद्यालय की उपलब्धि बहुत अलग प्रकार की रही है। आज यहाँ आने पे इस म्यूजियम को देखने के बाद यह ध्यान में आया कि कलमिकिया के लोग अपने इतिहास को लेकर के भी, अपने वर्तमान को लेकर के भी, अपने भविष्य को लेकर के भी बहुत जागरूक रहते हैं, बहुत सजग रहते हैं। इसके लिए इनको बधाई भी देता हूँ और ये म्यूजियम का जो आकार है और इसको विस्तार दिया जाए, ऐसा इनको अपनी तरफ से सुझाव भी देता हूँ।
India ended day 4 firmly on top of the Delhi test, needing just 58 more runs for victory to seal the series 2-0. Campbell and Hope's centuries kept West Indies fighting early on the day, but India's bowlers, led by Jadeja, Siraj and Bumrah, triggered a late collapse. Justin Greaves and Jayden Seale stitched a stubborn 79-run partnership in 22 overs for the 10th wicket, stretching the lead to 120 before Bumrah entered the innings at 390 runs. In pursuit of 121, Rahul and Sai Sudarshan steadied the chase after Jaiswal's early dismissal, leaving India poised for a comfortable Day 5 finish. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And for those on the go, you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates from India and the world. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja. From all of us here in New Delhi, thank you for watching. Namaskar.